Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I am your host, Adam Portrais, and I'm joined once again by Sean Keenan. Oh, shoot. Hold on.
Heidi ain't happy.
I forgot to turn your thing up. Say it again.
You know who ain't happy? Heidi ain't happy.
Oh, but we wonder if he is happy, Mr. Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and they call me that because I'm the opposite of smoothie.
Oh, we got some smoothies up in here for you today, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be covering the second half of Happy. We had a little bit of a unhappy misstep. Well, you see what I did there, fellas? I took a little joke. Yeah, that's what we do around here.
That's grade A material, solid gold.
Solid gold, baby. But yes, so we heard your cries last week, everyone. And I got it like tweets. I got like an email. I got like a, hey, the show sounded like garbage, jerkwad. Fix it. No, they weren't quite that mean, but it felt that way. And I didn't even want to listen back to it because I was just like, I know this is going to be bad. So hopefully, because I was like, you ever have that where it's just like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely terrible. And you're just like, I'm not even going to open up that Ark of the Covenant to watch my own face melt off. No, thank you.
Easier just to legally change your name and start a new podcast.
Yep, I'm just like, well, we're going to just check on out of this one and try something else, shall we? So I went back. I bought like a mixer online. That thing didn't work properly, so I've gone all the way back to the first ever little tiny mixer that I've got when we started podcasting, and hopefully it seems that all the levels look great to me, so we'll see.
You sound great to me, Adam. Let me ask you this question.
Please.
So there's people complaining about the sound quality of the episode.
You're right.
Were there any complaints at all that we were not going to review the second half of Happy?
No, people were just like knocking down the doors and saying, we need to do this. And like, look, this show's going to go where it's going to go, and it's going to go.
What if I told you that I don't believe you and I think that you are lying?
Well, these things happen. But listen, I've never not been a liar, so we all know how that works. You ever put together an online dating profile? All right. Anyway.
Adam, why did you use my picture on your dating profile?
Listen, it's called fishing, baby. Sometimes you got to put a little something else on the hook.
More importantly, why did you use my phone number?
Hey, listen, I'm awkward at first interactions, and we need to.
So you were doing a little Cyrano de Bergerac with me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I am. It's a little.
Adam, why does it say your nickname is Mr. Big Pants? What does that mean?
Big MC Hammer fan back in the day. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, I love it. First date, Adam shows up in his fancy hammer pants, the gold ones.
Oh man, how much would you pay to see that?
And you typewriter your way into the room.
And it's just like, oh gosh, what am I? And I wonder why there's no second dates involved in that. Anyways, but
too legit.
We were too legit to quit.
Hey, and I've got a whole chapter. I've got a whole chapter in my next Nerd Spawn book out of this conversation.
So go ahead and just order the old book now. And I say book, order the book, because I'll be honest with you, kids, it's something else to have a physical copy in your hand. It's quite nice. I need to get another 2 or 3 so I can hand them out as gifts with my signature on them. Even though I had nothing to do with the book whatsoever, other than I'm just a person in it. But I'm just like, heck yeah, that's mine. You just have yourself a Merry Christmas there, or whatever. But yeah, do that, everybody. That's on Amazon right now. But like I said, it's costing me to have to try to, buy new mixers and replace them and all that kind of jazz. And we're thankful that I can do that. Thanks to the people that go over to patreon.com/HMP and help this show get along here, man. And we do have a new Patreon person here. Christopher, he actually joined in. He joined in at the $1 and then actually upped it to the $5 almost right away, which was pretty awesome.
Well,
nice
party, Christopher.
And he
Christopher, your HMP nickname is Milkbone.
Milkbone, perfect. And he left a little note. He said, "I found the show a month ago, going through the back catalog, so I can listen to Miss Stuff at at 1:30 now. So I'm getting there. You guys are great. Thanks for the great show." And thank you, Chris. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you,
here.
Milkbone.
Thanks, Milkbone. We got to go on that one. And Carlton has jumped back in at the executive producer level here as well. So I do want to give a quick shout out to all the people that are on the lovely producer level. We got Matthew, Alex, Tim, Robert, RocketFace, Carlton back again, and of course Maria, all up at that executive producer level, and of course everyone else that's underneath there. Remember, when you do that, you get the pre-show, post-show, and I'm working on a couple of ideas for secondary shows. I was going to have one out, except for the whole mixer problem, and I got a tooth ripped out of my face. So that's why there was nothing out this weekend. So, but stuff will be coming. Do not fear. And as always, that's patreon.com/HMP. Join the 36 people that are already helping support this show, man. We really, really appreciate that.
Join in the HMP-ness.
Oh, that's my joke, Sean. You're too good for that.
Yeah, I was about to say that does sound like it's a little bit more of the Bruce Leslie.
That is very Brucey, for sure. For sure.
It's like we're finishing each other's
Sandwiches.
It's lovely. All right, so let's get into it because no one else wants to. Here is the trailer for Happy. Maybe, if it works correctly.
Happy horse.
If you can't find it, let me do it for you. I'm miserable. Thinking about killing myself. My daughter's been kidnapped. There's a Santa, a very bad Santa walking around. I gotta kill that guy.
But I'm the hero of the Cupcake Wars.
That's it. I'm not playing it now. We've already done it. I don't know why they think it worked before, but it's okay. Who gives a
From the Vanilla Ice Castle.
Oh, I remember.
I'm a really good actor.
I'm turning the wrong thing. All right, now we're gonna play. Thanks for the vamp, fellas, and watch how different this is from what these jokers actually did. It's completely the opposite.
My life is an ever-swirling toilet that just won't flush. I don't think I can die.
Hard to believe this piece of shit used to be the best detective in the whole department.
I died. I really did it.
Clear.
Perfect.
Hey, mister, come on, snap out of it. Hey, can you see me? Whoa, yeah, you can see me.
What the hell?
I'm happy. The happy horse so full of fun, of course. It's plain to see it's fun to be happy. Here comes the fun.
You're not real.
I'm an imaginary friend. I'm Haley's imaginary friend.
Come with me.
She's the sweetest little girl in the whole world. And you're the only one that can help me save her.
I am going to remove your penis in thin slices, like salami.
It's gonna take you a long time. If you know what I mean. He knows what I mean.
Are we the best team or what?
Question you gotta ask yourself. Do you feel lucky?
Whoops. I pooped. You are really bad at driving.
Disagree. Look at all the traffic we avoided. Merry Christmas.
Alrighty, that was the trailer for Happy.
I gotta say, me and Sean got pretty darn close, except for the music.
Not even close. Not even close. Here's the IMDb plotline. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. An injured hitman befriends his kidnapped daughter's imaginary friend, a plucky blue flying unicorn. Well, we've done the first half of this before. Let's see if we can do it again.
It's time for Bruce's comic book connection.
Bruce, what do you have for us this time? This might be tough.
Yeah, it's really a challenge to put together two comic book connections for such a limited property. But I'm the kind of guy who likes a challenge. So the central conceit of Happy is bending the nature of reality, a recurrent motif that shows up in Grant Morrison's work. The Invisibles is a series about a single cell of the Invisible College, a secret organization battling against physical and psychic oppression using time travel, magic, meditation, and physical violence. For most of the series, the team includes leader King Mob, Lord Fanny, a transgender Brazilian shaman, Boy, a former member of the NYPD, Ragged Robin, a telepath with a mysterious past, and Jack Frost, a young hooligan from Liverpool who may be the next Buddha. Their enemies are the archons of the outer church, interdimensional alien gods who have already enslaved most of the human race without their knowledge. You may not know this, but many people think this series' reality-bending plot may have heavily influenced The Matrix. Now, Grant Morrison wanted the Invisibles to become a hyper-sigil. A hyper-sigil is something his particular branch of chaos magic refers to as a symbolic representation of the magician's desired outcome for a group. I guess Morrison was using magic comics to get mo people woke, fellas. Now, did you guys know that there was some kind of a bitter conflict between Grant Morrison's magic sect and Alan Moore's?
Not a surprise.
Of course there is, because comic books.
Well, they had the chaos magical equivalent of Tupac and Biggie, only instead of shootings, they were casting drive-by curses on each other. And you don't want beef with Magician's Boy because they play for keeps. Now, Morrison saw the series censored due to the publisher's concern over the possibility of pedophilic and child abuse content. So what do you do when Vertigo, an imprint of DC, won't let you make pedophiles the villains? Well, simple. You go to Image and write happy. Now, DC had one line that originally read, Walt Disney was a SHIT, blacked out at the suggestion of their lawyers. And I got to say, I'm kind of with the lawyers on this one. But fear not, I bought the uncensored hardcover, so I get to see all of Grant Morrison's lunacy unfiltered. After The Invisibles, Grant Morrison wrote something called The Filth. It began as a Nick Fury proposal for Marvel Comics, but it was too nasty for Fury, which means it was pretty darn nasty. Now, the title, The Filth, refers both to the police in British slang and to pornography, in which Morrison immersed himself while researching the series. So, guys, how much of watching dirty movies was really research, and how much was Morrison just doing what Morrison does? The world,
according to the IRS, all of
it. Now, the series tells the story of Greg Feely, a bachelor whose main interests are his cat and pornography. And that's a winning combination for any bachelor who wishes to remain a bachelor. Now, Feely is actually a member of a shadowy organization called The Hand, and their attempts to keep society on the path to the status quo. Morrison was featured in My Chemical Romance's music videos, which is weird to see something I really like crossing over with something my daughter really likes. Well, really likes this week. She is 12 after all. But more importantly, it explains why Gerard Way's run on Doom Patrol seems like it was written by somebody trying just a little too hard to prove he's as bizarre as Grant Morrison. Seriously, Young Animal Comics just aren't doing it for me, DC. But at the end of the day, if you want a purely hateable villain with no redeeming qualities or sympathetic tones, you can't get any worse than someone who does bad things to children. So congratulations, Grant Morrison. You figured out how to make a flat character. By the way, I really like Grant Morrison. I don't know why I sound so bitter, but it's just who I am.
Well, here's the thing. This is right up his alley. And
I mean, just imagine Magneto, probably my favorite villain in all of Marvel. Imagine if instead of a Holocaust survivor, he was a pedophile. Do you think he's still my favorite villain?
Probably
I'm going to
not.
say no.
Probably
yeah,
not.
I'm hoping not. I like to think I know myself enough to answer that question. But, sympathetic villains are where it was at for eons, so why not just make them as unsympathetic as possible?
At the same time, too, and while I like that as like an idea for a lot of things and stuff, too, I think there's also been somewhat of a bend in where we tend to go that way a lot more times, which is nice for complexity of characters. But, it's also nice to just have out-and-out people that you just utterly despise. And, sometimes you need the one-dimensional James Bond petting a cat, twirling a mustache character that's just an evil piece of garbage.
Yeah, tying the little lady to the railroad tracks because she didn't pay the rent.
Exactly. Because she didn't pay the rent too. That's how the price you pay for not paying rent is tied to train tracks to be led to your death. I like that.
She's asking for back rent, and I don't got no front rent.
Dr. Dan Dew, is that you?
And out the door he went. Now, the first 4 episodes, I believe, I don't know the exact quote, but I think Sean wanted to, what was it, kill himself at the end of this?
It doesn't stop. I can tell you that. It doesn't get better by the end of this season, because we already know that they're coming back for season 2.
They are indeed.
Oh, that's misguided.
Well, look, man, I agree. It's so well done, the show. As I said the last episode of Happy, I have nothing against any of the people working on the show. It's directed well, written well, performed well. The art direction is great. The design is great. It's the content. The content is what I have a problem with this show. And I love Grant Morrison. I've said it before. When he's on, he's great. I love him. I love his JLA run. I even love his new X-Men run, which I know is controversial to some people, but I do love it. I love New 52. I like all that stuff. But this is not Batman versus Robin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Grant Morrison has a very specific tone when he is shackled, and he should be. Because when he's not, things tend to go really, really dark. And if you're into that kind of thing, that is great. They're remaking The Crow for you. So this show is great for that. Like if you like to be dark and depressed and brooding, and that's your jam, this is the show for you. I am not that guy, and I haven't been that guy. I don't watch TV to feel more depressed. I want something where I totally forget that I'm watching a TV show. I'm so immersed by something. And it's impossible for me with this show, because it's just like I have to back away from it as I'm watching it.
And not to put either of you guys on the spot, but do either of you have like a favorite Grant Morrison run or favorite Grant Morrison book or like one work that you kind of would recommend to people if you wanted to get them to like Grant Morrison?
For me, it's the Batman run where Dick Grayson takes over as Batman and Damian becomes Robin.
Yeah.
That to me is the best Grant Morrison run you could possibly have.
I think anytime Grant Morrison's writing Damian Wayne, I like it.
Yeah.
But if I want to ease somebody into Grant Morrison, it's All-Star Superman.
Oh, that's a great one. That's great.
Like it's probably the least Morrison, but it still has the tones of, changing perception on how things are, but still it's not quite as wacky as Flex Mentallo using his mental mastery to defeat people by flexing his muscles at them.
Yeah, but you also have to deal with Frank Quietly's Superman, so that's...
Hey, I'm a person who doesn't mind Quietly's art one bit.
I like Frank Quietly.
I like some of his stuff. Some of it just looks like characters are smelling farts.
Well, sometimes comic book characters fart, man. What can you say?
Constantly in every panel.
I'm going to guess it happens a lot. There's got to be a lot of protein in that diet.
That's why Superman wears his underwear on the outside.
It's funny, man, because I'll see some of his stuff and I'll just go like, "Oh, this is great," and then 3 panels later, what is this garbage? Ugh, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that guy.
And I'm probably the only one who has read the actual Happy comic. It's only 3 issues. I mean, out of the 3 of us, not the only one in all of existence.
Boy, what a braggart!
Probably close. You got to think that's probably like 5 figures the amount of people who have read that book.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty low. But the comic part of it too is because it's only 3 issues. But the comic doesn't have some of the fun that's in the show. So if you think the show's kind of depressing, Sean, you definitely don't want to read the comic.
I don't. I don't. Based on the TV show, I don't.
But even though the development of the show made me think it was going to come to a fairly different ending than the comic, it actually ends almost as if they took panels out of the comic for the ending.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. Not the little coda at the end, but I mean the final showdown.
So there's the whole thing with
all the imaginary friends get together and make an army. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And I was worried they were going to go away from that after the whole imaginary friend AA meeting. I thought that was done, but then they all kind of brought it back around, which was cool. And also, when we reviewed the first half, I said they really should have had somebody like Billy West doing the voice for Happy. Well, they did bring him in to do the other voices. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
I loved all that. I thought that was such a neat and interesting idea to have all those characters together, and then they can. This sounds like an 80s movie, but I love the way they bleed.
Oh yeah.
Because it's all this like just purple, glowy kind of just blood coming out of them and stuff. I think that's so cool. I love the Reservoir Dogs reference when we get a little later with the interrogation
that was
scene.
Awesome. I love that. I love that too.
And it's like it literally shot for shot, move for move, and I love that.
And I also love the fact that there were a lot of people sitting at home saying, "Oh, that's a Pulp Fiction reference." There were people swearing that was a Pulp Fiction reference.
Oh, you could bet your sweet dollar there. But here's the thing. This thing is, yes, it's a lot of crazy, it's a lot of nuts. But you know what? Let me ask you this, Sean, because I'm a bit curious on this one. What are your thoughts on like blues music?
I'm fine with blues music as long as it is done correctly, meaning Dan Aykroyd isn't anywhere near it.
Amen.
I like old blues music
because that's what you can listen to some blues music and still at the end of the day you could almost, even though it's always about suffering and loneliness and heartbreak and sadness, you can still feel up about it at the end of the day, and that's how I feel with this. It's just like I look at it and go, that at least it's not me.
This show wouldn't be complete if I didn't say I only listen to Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Well, but the difference between blues music and this show is that blues music sets a mood. You can get out of a mood pretty quickly. When you're watching this show with the visuals, with the music, with everything else, you're in it. And you can't. And for me, maybe because I'm just a much more visual person, it takes me longer to get out of it.
Yeah. To me, I like this whole thing. I have a smile on my face throughout the entire series.
I absolutely enjoy Christopher Maloney's performance. So that brings me through it. I don't get nearly as down about this show as Sean does. And part of that is because my soul has become calloused over time.
There you
but
go.
I know when the first time I saw The Crying Game, it just put me in a funk for a long time. So I can understand where Sean's coming from. I've been there before with stuff that's really bummed me out. But nothing that involved a cartoon unicorn has been quite this depressing, I guess.
Well, and I agree with you. Maloney is incredible in the show, as is just about everybody on the show. One of the things that we've been watching behind the scenes, at least I have, I don't know if Bruce has, but I've been watching more Krypton this week. And, the difference between a good show and a bad show, because Happy is a good show, it's just not my jam. But I believe what everyone is doing on this show. I know their characters, I know their actors, but there's nothing where you're like, come on. And in Krypton this week, there is a fight scene that happens that is so ridiculous that I threw my hands up in the air and I was so angry, and it made me so happy how angry I was, because it was one of those things where it was like, hey, I can still feel hate.
I love it.
Yeah, and this show, the show of Happy, it's so well done, but again, it's not my kind of show, so I just don't enjoy watching it.
And I've got to get two things out in the open. we just got to talk about two things or I won't be able to move on. Like, I won't be able to remember anything else that happened in the show if we don't, number one, talk about Smoothie dropping trowel, because that's all I can think about. I watched 4 episodes, and that's all I can remember. We got to cover Smoothie dropping trowel. Then I'm sure some of the other details will come rushing back to me.
Smoothie dropping trowel is my. Wait a minute, that's not okay.
That's a blues song by Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Indeed.
Smoothie dropping trowel. It ain't as good as it sounds.
Listen, I'm not to parse things out here, but Bleeding Gums was a jazz artist. Just to I don't.
Oh, that's true, man.
I was sitting back and I was wondering, should I say anything? And I'm like, I'll let it slide. He brought it up again, and I'm like, no, I gotta sing it now.
You definitely got to say something, man. It'd be like
whenever
Goose Man was Coltrane.
You know what? Whenever anyone does the voice, the nerd voice, excuse me, that is exactly where you just came from.
Trust me. Here's what
you should have said. You should have said worst episode ever.
I'm just writing into you guys to let you know that Bleeding Gums Murphy is not I'm just trying to preempt the emails.
Claven. Okay. So anyway, let's talk about Smoothie, man. I can't believe they went there, and I watched it, didn't avert my eyes even for a second. Still not sure what I saw, man.
Okay, let's talk about this, and this will lead into that. The show itself, oh my goodness for what they get away with on Sci-Fi. Wowie, wow. I am blown away by everything that they got away with on this show, from language to just Smoothie. That whole deal. And
hey, if you allow me a terrible pun, even Game of Thrones doesn't have the balls to show something like Smoothie, and they've got multiple characters they could do it with.
Yeah, no, that's true. But that kind of it just went crazy, and not only did Smoothie not have anything below the waist. Then he goes and has an apparatus of which he then goes and uses.
Wait.
What?
He doesn't have anything below the waist except there's this weird little skin tag. Did you guys see? That was an extra added detail that I just didn't need. But there's this weird little scar-looking skin tag. Go back and watch it again, man.
Wow. Okay.
It's not just a Ken doll. There's just a little extra they didn't have to put there, and they did to make it that much more disgusting.
Episode this is
like I could go with the Dogma Ken doll look, but man, it just had just the tiniest little bit of this weird scar skin tag kind of thing that was just too much.
But
then the apparatus, I gotta agree with you, man. When he puts on the apparatus and he's just walking around a totally naked and chained up Chris Maloney, I can't believe that Sci-Fi is doing this. This is something I could see even Showtime saying, why don't we just back this? This is NC-17 territory in the theater.
In a great, crazy, wild 360 blue screen room, and then it breaks off. And then they have to release
That's the punchline.
He just goes, you're going to have to take it out. What in the world? And later he gets caught in bear traps. It's just I don't think that we've ever seen a human being take more damage in
that's
in
part
media.
of the fun of Maloney is really good at overacting pain. I don't mean overacting in a bad way, but I mean, the kind of acting I like, and Maloney's giving it to me.
Scenery chewing.
Yeah, I love it. The bear trap hits his foot, he falls back. It's like a Home Alone moment. The bear trap hits his foot, he falls back, another bear trap gets his shoulder. He tries to take the one off his foot, and it slips and slams it down on him again. I mean, it's totally Home Alone going on here.
Yeah, it's you fall down, boom, there's another thing that's coming up to hit you and hurt you away.
Imagine how different Home Alone would have been if Kevin had broken out the Smoothie apparatus.
Oh, man.
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci would have never been the same. The great part is hearing the behind the scenes of Home Alone of how many takes Pesci ruined because he actually cursed, and they're like, no, this is a PG movie. You can't do that. And so everything he's doing is so it's not actual cursing, but they were like,
see, I assume that was all additional audio recording that they had to put over it.
I wouldn't put anything past it.
Oh man, But the second thing I don't know,
Okay.
Sean, do you have a long treatise on Smoothie's anatomy or anything you want to add?
Smoothness.
No, I think I already think that we've spent way too much time on this.
Wait a
already.
minute. I've got a quick one. Do you think that there's a butt crack?
There has to be, or else Smoothie would weigh like 800 pounds.
Okay. Well,
everybody poops, Adam. Everybody poops.
I've got a children's book that proves it.
I've got another book in mind. I'll tell you guys after the show, but I've got a book in mind that's kind of a sequel to that. But keep it on the DL. But yeah, okay. All right. So after that one, what else you got?
Well, season 2, man. You know, I said right at the top, I think season 2's misguided. And the reason is the first time the kid gets kidnapped, I'll blame that on the bad guys. But that kid gets kidnapped the second time, I'm blaming the parents. There's no way around it.
Listen, I don't think they're going in a Taken route. I think this girl's. I think her story's done.
Oh, season 7, kid got kidnapped again.
Listen. Those, honest to goodness, those were the Taken movies. It's just like, listen, if this broad gets stolen one more time, I'm starting to think, Liam Neeson, you a bad parent.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there comes a point where you got to start like Home Alone 2 and Home Alone 3. That was my whole problem with those sequels. Like, first time, I'll say honest mistake. When it's happening a third time, you need to get CPS involved.
Yeah, that's when the authorities are called out to the house, for sure.
I checked out, like when I saw Home Alone 2 in the theater, I checked out because you'll enjoy this, fellas. I read the novelization first. Swear on all that is holy, that is the truth. I read the novelization of Home Alone, then the movie came out, because I got it at like one of those book fairs or whatever as a kid. And then I went to go see the movie, and I'm just like, this is nothing like the book. And I was angry. That was the first time that ever happened to me. And that's why I developed a season of hating to read.
My 10-year-old came home from his book fair about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, with a copy of Ready Player One. And he says, look, Dad, they've already made a book out of the movie.
With Home Alone 2, let's get back to this for a second.
Yeah.
So with Home Alone 2, that is literally a novelization of a movie that's already been made.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no way there's a book out called Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. There's no way. I mean, there's no way they took source material from a pre-existing book to make that. But there's no way that happened.
No, it's just somebody like.
So Adam, my question to you is: how in the wide world of sports can you sit in the movie theater as a kid going, "Oh, the book is nothing like this," because literally it is a word for word translation of a movie that some poor schmuck made probably $2,500 to just recap what happens in the movie.
Yeah, but they don't even do a good job of that. That's what sucks.
Man, I'll just put it out there. I would write novelizations of movies for $1,500. So if people are looking to save $1,000, hit me up on Twitter.
Well, let me tell you, they're still making those Sweet Valley High books. Maybe that's where you go.
Man, maybe it is. I'll have to read the first, there's only like 107 in them so far. I don't want to be lost.
You got to get caught up to date, and you got to be in that canon. Otherwise, they will kick your butt out, son.
All of a sudden, one twin is a vigilante who kills people with a machete at night, and the other twin is a nun.
I think I've told you guys this before, but my buddy who is a writer in Hollywood, he started out as a guy who was a for-hire writer, and he wrote a bunch of the Sweet Valley High books. But it was between that or ghost writing William Shatner's Tech War.
Oh,
Tech War books.
Yeah.
And he literally said to me, don't tell anybody that I told you that William Shatner doesn't write those books. I literally
the world
said
would
out loud,
shock.
No one thinks that you didn't that William Shatner's writing those Tech War books. No one thinks that.
And that man's name was Zach Penn, whose Ready Player One is in theaters right now. Check it out, everybody.
But okay, so back to the movie. Now that we've gotten the two big distracting things out of the way, okay. I don't know, man. What else do you guys remember worth talking about? Let's talk about Sonny Shine, Louis Scheinberg.
Yes,
that's an interesting character. And first off, I mean, I don't care. I hate to throw shade at people, but I don't care if you're Teletubbies, Wiggles, Doodlebops. I'm not leaving my kid alone with any of those sickos, because I don't even like my kids to go to a birthday party where an adult's making balloon animals, because that just ain't right.
Here's the thing. You're not wrong. Every one of those types of people is weird. Every one of them's an oddball and a weirdo. Like, do you know what the guy who played Barney is doing right now?
Yes, tantric sex cult or something.
Yeah, he's got a crazy sex cult going on his hands.
And we all know about the puppeteer who tickled Elmo.
So, watch yourselves, everybody. And, of course, this guy's perfect. He's got just that, weird glam thing and everything going on, too. And it's just like he's a shady character in all shapes and sizes, man. No.
Man, but that once again, I'm universally praising the acting performances here, because the actor that played Louis Scheinberg played it exactly how I would picture Sonny Shine being in real life. I love it. Little man syndrome, sort of ambiguous sexuality, overindulging as if he's trying to overcompensate for maybe lack thereof before he got famous. Just really weird stuff. I think he nailed it.
I absolutely love the audition tape. I thought it was just so great.
Yeah, I love that.
Coming in and just not even saying, like, oh, you're not even on the list, just dancing around, drop kicking the boombox at the end, doesn't care, and just screams. And it's literally how he got that job. How awesome is that?
Oh, man. Going into audition in Richard Simmons' hot pants, for first off. They just don't make children's entertainers like Captain Kangaroo and Mr. Rogers anymore. Those guys you can set your watch by.
I don't know. Captain Kangaroo, that haircut's a little bit...
It was a wig, Adam. It was a wig.
Wig or no, it's
In real life, he had a faux hawk.
I don't know what's worse. But that kind of stuff was cool. I love how we take the kids go, Smoothie takes them to the school and everything like that, and it's all just this crazy set and whatnot. I love them, kind of breaking out and finding out that it's not it's the whole fake world outside and everything. I don't know what he's trying to do to the kids, but it's creepy as all get out, and I love that. And what are those kids sitting there and quote unquote learning all day?
He's trying to make them compliant before they're delivered.
And exactly, and that's the cool part. It's and then puts them in the giant living doll sort of things. Do they kill the kids before that happens, or are they shipped there live?
No, he's making them puppets.
Yeah, learned helplessness is the term.
It's all super creepy and awesome. I love how they got the one kid. It's like you're the top of the class because you're the Asian kid.
Yeah, I do like that.
They just automatically oh, well, there you go.
And he keeps pointing out that the chubby kid's chubby and stuff like that.
No, you don't get any cake. It just takes it away from him.
And of course, we are all supposed to revel in Haley's obstinance and defiance and her failure to comply. Yeah. Like the one scene, I think she spits directly in his mouth.
Oh, he's right up in him, and he just, hawks one right up on him. And that's great. And boy, I always feel sorry for any of the actors that have to have that conversation of okay, I am going to spit in your face. I am going to take you spitting in my face. Where do you want it? Well, where are you good at aiming? Well, it's hit or miss a little bit.
Can we get some CGI spittle? Just go through the motions. We'll put it in post.
How many times can I spit on you this one segment? Do you keep screwing it up a couple times if you really hate your co-star that you're doing with and just go I'm sorry, mess that up again. Let's do it again.
The way that Sean has pointed out several times where the sort of the villains, the most evil people in the shows are probably absolutely likable in real life.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the actor that plays Smoothie is incredibly pleasant, but I know that Sonny Shine is a jerk in real life too. He has a jerk nature about him that I think in real life he's becoming the character he plays.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen that many pictures of oneself hanging up since I've been to Sean Keenan's house. Boom! No, I'm just kidding.
Boom!
We need the old room shot.
But he's super creepy. He does that job oh so well, and again, it's one of those. I don't know that you could have cast somebody that would be better at that creepiness.
Now, I like it when we find out that Blue's kid is a real sadistic kid too. That sadism runs in the family because his hobby is torturing imaginary friends that he sends his 3-headed dog to go pick up at the imaginary friend support group.
Just the fact that there's an imaginary support group for imaginary animals is just hilarious to me.
Yeah, and it's also fun when we get to see Happy finally grow a pair and start using that unicorn horn the right way and gutting like people and scaring the kid to death. And then, of course, when Chris Maloney has the meat shield made out of the wife and kid, and the wife's kind of liking him once she finds out he's going to go mutilate her husband.
Oh, that was so awesome. And I love the little kid on his back doing the pistol movements and stuff, too, because the kid's just digging it. Like, the kid is loving watching all of these gangsters, fly down and die. It's just...
Yeah.
That
best Christmas ever.
That's the thing.
What the kid said.
It's so, like, this whole thing is so much fun. I love the music because it takes place during Christmas. There's so much Christmas music in it. It's a lot of what's his face there? Oh, shucks.
Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Yes, Bleeding Gums Murphy. No, Phil
Famous
Spector.
Blues musician.
Phil
Spector. Yeah.
Phil Spector, Christmas music, which
Speaking
is always
of Louis
great.
Scheinberg syndrome.
Yeah. Speaking of people that could go a little bit off the handle if you're pushed ever so slightly, actually. Tearing Down the Wall of Sound, great book. Check it out, everybody.
Great hair.
But it's just so much fun. There's so much fun that has in this. It's just like, listen, I understand it's dark, but man, oh man, it's a blast of a ride. If you want to. And I'm also somebody who really likes having like music that's really the opposite of whatever's kind of going on.
Yeah, and I also like it when he's using Blue's family as a meat shield, and she's like, "Oh, you can't just bring us out here in the middle of all this." He goes, "Listen, lady, I'm quick to shoot and I shoot to kill," and then boom, 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 he like kills everybody. That's all over with, blood splattered all over him.
It's so good, and
she tells him where to find her husband at. It's good fun.
He can't set off the bomb at first, and then the kid goes and sets it off. Oh my gosh, it's wrong and it's awesome.
Now the show's well constructed. We agree that it's pretty well produced. I like the acting. I think the plot really holds together, but I'm going to say I feel like there was a loose thread that got dropped and didn't really get resolved, and that's the whole Michelangelo character. Kind of coming back from the dead, then he's talking almost like a demon, and then he just like drives off in a car and we never see him again. And I feel like there was no resolution to his character arc.
Well, you stayed after the credits though, right?
No, come on, man. You think I'm staying after the credits on this thing?
Well, there's a like once the main credits hit, then you'll go like maybe 30 seconds maybe, and then there's an after thing with that.
Did you stay after the credits, Sean?
No.
Of course not. So just tell us, Adam, what happened with Michelangelo?
Wait a minute. Are we talking about the same guy?
We're talking about Michelangelo's the one they thought was dead. He escaped from the morgue. They made meatballs with minstrel blood. He shows up on the reality show. He's the one that was supposed to be in the trunk, but it was just an animatronic Santa Claus.
So he goes to see Blue in prison.
Oh.
At the end. So that's where because you'd mentioned season 2, and that's what I thought that you were talking about, is that they've left that open of like he's still kicking around, and then some magic sort of stuff happens, and he more or less, for lack of a better term, his spirit goes inside of Blue. So Blue is inside prison now, and he's possessed.
Oh, so there is a demon involved.
There's going to be a demon involved. We are going into season 2 with some crazy off-the-wall demon stuff.
We aren't going into season 2.
Yeah, we are.
No, we are not.
Sean, as a person who's worked in television on many different levels, like the very highest and very lowest, I think you've done. So when Blue goes in and just smashes the Christmas ornament in the director's face, and then later he just starts shooting those Hollywood types, have you ever had moments where you thought that could have been you?
Oh, yes, for sure. Oh, yes.
I love it when he goes, this gangster thing is old school. You need to get with the program and be a celebrity. 1.3 million followers on Instagram.
I love Blue's constant, just like, and again, I mentioned this in the first 4 episodes, is he's doing like a weird De Niro sort of thing. And it's so bizarre that I love that guy because he's just a weirdo.
I like the way he kind of sucks his teeth before he starts every sentence. Yeah, like I'm going to start doing that and see if it makes me a cooler guy.
No, I don't think that it will. I think that'll make you. You ever meet those people that have those tics where it's just like, everything. I'm gonna murder you if you don't just stop this horrible.
It's like he has to take a moment and suppress the rage before he can even speak to you.
I've had to
That's what I have a friend who actually is a comedian, who when you're just talking to him in regular life, if you say something to him that makes him angry, he literally goes and then he'll start talking, and it happens every single time. It's his tell. So when you start hearing him go, you literally have to go over and go, hey, and pull him away from the person that he's talking to.
Don't go murdering now.
And every time, his name's Mike, and every time Mike.
Oh, I thought it was Gallagher.
Every time, well, look, I got some backstage stories on Gallagher when we're off air if you want to hear them.
Yeah.
But the first time I did it, I was like, you have a tell, and this is your tell. And it feels like it would be the same thing. The sucking your teeth is another thing where, like, I'm angry.
Or just like a little odd cock of the head, where it's like, you know.
D'Onofrio in Law and Order, Criminal Intent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. My tell is when I take a deep breath, my eyes bulge, and those veins start to throb in the corner of my temples, and then I ball both fists up and start swinging them. That's when you know I'm angry.
That's an easy tell.
My dogs learned to recognize it.
I do the Curly lying on the floor, turning in circles, going whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah.
Don't play Pop Goes the Weasel around that guy.
Niagara Falls.
Watch out.
Oh, that was Moe's trigger. Never mind. There are 2 mistakes in one episode, guys. I'm losing my touch. So back to Happy. Back to Happy, man. Is there?
Oh, good, please, yes.
So Santa Claus. Santa Claus is a much bigger character in the show than he is in the comic. I don't know. What do you guys think about the way they dealt with Santa Claus? I kind of like the way that everybody seems to have just enough supernaturalness to them that you're not sure what you're watching. It's consistent with Grant Morrison's style.
Yeah, and I also liked how, you know, because of the belief in the imaginary friends and stuff, because this guy has a stunted, you know, growth kind of thing going on, and he still has that imagination, can still see all these things. Without that imagination, there's no way that he would have won, right? Or
yeah.
You know, because the imaginary friends couldn't come and, you know, kick his butt from here to eternity. So it's because of his own, you know, faults, I guess you could say, that he actually were his own downfall, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I think so, man. And the whole idea of the homebrew lobotomies I thought was a nice touch, because once again we get this whole blended reality and fantasy thing where we see like the ballerina and we see the guy that looks like the Nutcracker ballet and stuff. And I think it's just purely his hallucinations. Then the girl screams and you see legs and I don't know what's going to happen. And then, you know, it cuts away and comes back and you see that he's lobotomized all these children and kept them as sort of zombie pets even after they've grown into what would be adulthood had they not had a drill thrust through their forehead.
Yeah, it's just, again, just really super dark kind of wacky stuff that is just...
And by the way,
cool.
Santa, it's easier if you go up the nose, not through the forehead.
Yeah, but no, you can't visually show that. It's not cool.
Oh, man. And really, transorbital is the way to go, but that's a story for another day.
Here, to give you the best lobotomy tips, tune in to HMP Weekly.
I'm going to bring him back.
But yeah, so I mean, like, look, I liked all the fighting. I liked how this thing kind of went this, and it's just constantly going and constantly moving. I'm never bored with this show.
And I even like, you know, there at the end when he's been to heck and back, and at the end, you know, he vomits about spending time alone with his daughter because, I don't know, Sean can tell you, for some guys, you know, it's an adjustment becoming a dad even when you're there from the beginning. But man, you're as big a mess as Chris Maloney is, and then you get thrown in trying to be a dad and don't know how. That's scary stuff.
Oh, for sure. You know, I mean, I can't even imagine what that's like.
Yeah,
that guy is a you know, I hate the term train wreck now, but that's literally what he is. He's a train wreck.
And I love it that Haley has outgrown Happy, but Chris Maloney still needs him.
Again, I think that's a super cool little conceit, and again, shows you that like daughter's not going to be involved in season 2, but we've got to keep him around somehow. And then, yeah, I totally dig that.
And I like it that Happy's changed from talking about the Cupcake Kingdom and the icing castle and all that kind of stuff when he was Haley's imaginary friend, and now he's suggesting liquid courage and booger sugar to show you that he now derives his existence from Chris Maloney's character.
He's got to have fun with him, and that's how they're going to end up doing it. Like, he curses now. He murdered someone, and I love the little card ride and everything. He's just like, what's wrong with you? Oh, you killed somebody. I know that look.
I love it. And of course, there's that great. Let's talk about the Reservoir Dogs reference a little bit more. I know, Adam, you'll want to touch on just how fun that was.
It was just look, it's a lot of fun, and again, I very familiar with the movie, and it was literally just shot
the
for shot.
The ear off scene.
Yeah, exactly. So it's where Mr. Blonde goes and cuts off the cop's ear and everything, but we're doing it with a unicorn and a sock puppet.
And it's awesome. And same exact song, same little dance. I mean, it's like there's nothing terribly creative about it. It's just a cool thing to do.
But I mean, like literally, like the blocking and everything, where it's like a couple steps forward, couple steps back, and just every tiny bit exactly the same.
And just like Reservoir Dogs, we don't really see the tickling. It's implied. Just like everybody swears they saw the ear getting cut off, but it's not there.
You pan up and to the left.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Look, it's a lot of fun, and again, it's another thing about the show is that music plays a big part in it, and I'm a fan of stuff that really integrates music well, and this show does that in spades.
Yeah, but I think I'm out of happy talk, man, because I enjoyed it enough, but it's not one I really want to talk about.
Well, I think there's only one person on the show who really could go on and on and on about the show Happy. Maybe he needs his own happy podcast.
Sometimes you can only be so happy in life. But, guys, you know what really makes me happy in life is when we find out how a television show or movie connects to our favorite person on the entire planet, one Sylvester Stallone.
Thank you, Adam, for that awesome transition. I have a prepared statement.
Ooh.
Kat Percy is the hair department head on Happy, which might sound like I screwed up her title, but I didn't. That's how you say that. Hair department head. I don't know anything about this woman, but whenever someone's God-given name is Catherine and they choose to go with Kat, I'm on board. Catherine isn't fun to be around, but Kat, yeah, Kat knows how to party. I don't know why, but in my head, Kat is the younger sister to a girl who might be better looking, but not nearly as much fun. Maybe the older sister's name is Heather or Andrea. And whenever you try to talk to her, she says things like, "You're not nearly as funny as you think you are, Sean Keenan." How about you shut up, Andrea? You're not better than me just because you grew up in the nicer part of town and you never went on a week-long bender that made you rethink all your life choices. But Kat, Kat thinks you're a riot. And Kat got into hair because she's good with people and didn't want to go to school for 4 years because she's smart enough to know that people are always going to need to get their hair cut, but not smart enough to know that she'll need to set money aside to retire. She'll be 85 years old, still cutting people's hair in her living room with shaky hands, couple of divorces under her belt. Kat has the same hair she had 30 years ago and says inappropriate things to dudes half her age, like, "If I was 10 years younger, I'd show you the time of your life," making men laugh nervously like white guys in a Martin Lawrence movie. In 2013, Kat Percy worked on a movie called Grudge Match, starring Robert De Niro and a guy who probably doesn't understand any reference to the band Smash Mouth, Sylvester Stallone. Grudge Match is one of those movies that seems like it would have been a bigger deal, Raging Bull and Rocky in the same movie. But do you know anyone who has seen it? Because I don't.
Yeah.
I also don't know anyone who's a fan of the band Smash Mouth, but those guys made a lot of music. So there you have it, HMPers. This week's Stallone connection. Now, Bruce and not Bruce, let's review the first season of Happy. And hey, guys, let's call it quits here on the TV show Happy. I really am starting to feel like the guy who hates everything. because I don't like watching the direct to video DC stuff. I don't like watching Happy, but like I like a lot of stuff. But for
Adam,
some reason, this show.
Yes.
Wasn't Guy Fieri the lead singer of Smash Mouth before he went on to the Food Network?
There's nothing saying that he's not.
Okay, I'll start that.
Guy Fieri.
Yeah. Listen, I wasn't gonna. I was just gonna let him have the
his name?
time.
Guy Fieri?
Yes, Guy Pontiac Fiero.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Guy Fieri?
Gee whiz.
That's going to be my stage name, Pontiac Fiero.
I like it.
But someone that we would ask to get their game on and go play is Bruce Leslie, because we have to ask you, what is your Robin rating for the first season of Happy?
Now, I definitely found something to enjoy more than Sean did. Don't get me wrong. But I'm also probably not as happy, if you'll allow me the pun, to watch this as Adam was. And Grant Morrison is the kind of person that when I like him, I really like him. And when I don't, I feel like I overdosed on cough syrup and had a bad dream. So I guess the only way I could say to rank this is, it's going to appeal to some people. It's really going to turn off others. I think if there's ever a character created to rate this show, it would be a character created by Grant Morrison. And, of course, that's Damian Wayne.
Ooh.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, that's kind of classy. Sean, what do you think?
Look, the show is really well done. I'm not arguing that. I think that if you mistake intelligence for brooding, this is your show. I think that it's pitch perfect in the way that it is, the way that they present it to you. But this is not my show, and it hasn't been. And yet I watched an entire season of it. Thanks, Ed. And so I've got to give it a Jason Todd just for my tastes alone. This is a really hard watch for me, this show. And there's so many reasons to like this show if this is what you're into. But I can't imagine a ton of people like really getting interested in this show.
Fair enough. If you are that weird, bizarre jerk who likes the what I love to call the beautiful ugly, this is up your alley. Neville Dean and Taylor. This is done by Taylor, one half of that group. If you dig like the Crank movies and Gamer and all that kind of just over the top, wild, crazy. Pushing buttons to push buttons. Grant Morrison himself, of course, known to do that for a little bit himself from time to time. If that's your dig, if you dig on that, man, you'll probably be digging this as well as I do, man. Because like I said, I love it. I love the violence. I love the over the top nature of everything. I love the music integration. I have nothing but fun watching this awful madness and sadness. And to me, I literally have the opposite opinion. I'm going all the way. This is a. We're gonna go Dick Grayson. It's a Dick Grayson. I'm gonna give this the highest. I don't like. It's a lot of fun. I had fun.
Your Happy podcast is going to be great for the 5 people.
For the 5 people that listen to it. So, that's a thing, everybody. But yeah, look, I enjoyed it. These cats might not be watching season 2, but if you want to, message me over on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and just enjoy when Happy season 2 comes out, I'll talk to you. I'll be your friend.
A Twitter cast.
I got you, Huckleberry, right here. There it is, everybody. Season 2 of Happy. We got a top, a bottom, and a middle. How's that sound for you? That's a little bit of everything. So make up your mind for yourself. It's on Sci-Fi right now, and actually, there's an entire thing on YouTube that sums up the entire season in 3.5 minutes. So if you just want to watch that, you can do it.
Why didn't we just do that?
No, shut up. We're doing a whole hour. But that's it, everybody. Thanks for joining us this week. And again, thank you to all the people that support us over at patreon.com/HMP. We love each and every one of you. Thanks for helping keeping the lights on over here, man. And next week, we're going to be talking about the second half of Jessica Jones. How's that sound? Is that a little bit more up to everyone's taste?
Yeah, something more uplifting after this downer.
All right. Fine. We'll talk about the last half of Jessica Jones next week, and then maybe we'll start to get into some movies and stuff again because, of course, Avengers right around the corner and all that kind of good stuff. Ooh, excited for that. If you'd like to email us at heromoviepodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd also like to, we'd really appreciate it if you dropped on down to the iTunes, gave us a 5-star review, a.k.a. Humdinger.
Humdinger.
We'd really appreciate that. In the meantime, Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet, sir?
Go to Amazon.com. I got 5 books just begging for you to read them. There's Dragon in the Needles, Dragon in Gallus, Dragon in the Darklands, my Dragon trilogy. Then there's also, of course, Nerd Spawn Genesis, the true life adventures of the three of us. And, a little bit of the Leslie verse gets brought into that. And, of course, Chubby Wizard, Wrath of the Manticore, the best book with a Chubby Wizard and a Manticore you're likely to find on Amazon written in English.
And I'll be honest, I've been searching for it, and quite frankly, can't find one better. Can't do it. As much as you try. Keenan, where can people try to see you?
You can find me at Hero Movie Sean on Twitter. You can find my old podcast, Dog Eat Pod, at dogeatpod.com.
And, of course, at the Film Find, thefilmfind.com. I've been a little bit lackadaisical. That's because I got a tooth ripped out of my face, and I couldn't really talk too well. And as you heard on last week's podcast, things weren't doing well in the audio department. So it's been a terror wave of awful things. But everything is coming back together very soon. And, of course, Matt is going to join me in, I think, one more week. So we're going to get back into the groove there, everybody. So check that out at thefilmfind.com. That is it, everybody. Join us next week when we talk the second half of Jessica Jones on Netflix. For Sean Keenan and Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Portrais. Stay super, everybody.
Bye, Marty and Evie.
Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. In every life we have some trouble. But when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy, don't worry, be happy now. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody came and took your bed. Don't worry, be happy. The landlord say your rent is late. He may have to litigate. Don't worry, be happy. Look at me, I'm happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Hey, I give you my phone number. When you worry, call me. I make you happy. Don't worry. Be happy.